What's up? This is Patrick. Welcome to episode 46 of the Double ETF podcast, Everything Except the Football. I hope you guys are doing great. Today, it is another What We Watched segment, movies and TV with Nick, Mike Drew, and Woody Meachum. Lots of laughs as usual. If you want to drop us a line, you can do so at EETFpod on Twitter or EETFpodcast@gmail.com. As always, thank you to the members of the awesome club and hope you enjoy. Thanks. All right, so welcome to episode 46, What We Watched, early 2023 edition. So with me tonight, I have Nick Bambach. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you, Patrick?
Oh, good, thanks. Mike Drew, hello.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Oh, always a pleasure.
And thanks for having me back, too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Are you going to steal my lines all night? Or?
Yes, of course.
Great.
Well, the Americans always steal from the Canadians, right? Don't get it.
Fair enough. I know that commercial at the Super Bowl right there. That's the first thing I watched. There you go.
Oh, yeah. With Dave
Grohl.
Yes. That was all right. We are, jumping into tangents already, but I thought the commercials were weak this year. Would you agree?
Yes.
I didn't get to see it. I know. It's a long story.
That's okay. Okay, so, but we are not done introducing people yet. So, unfortunately, John Motford is not here today, but we have a more than capable replacement back on the show. Woody Meachum, how are you, sir?
Hey, Patrick. Thanks for having me on. I'm so sorry Motford couldn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to bury his body just before recording.
We're not going to talk about it.
No,
it was
sorry.
one too many librarians in the room anyway.
Right,
so
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, competition is rough. All right, so, okay, we're going to do a quick review of what we've watched recently, both movies and TV. We can start with you, Nick, with the movies. Fire away.
I recently got an AMC A-list membership. And for people who don't know, that's...
Nice flex.
Yeah. And basically how it works is you get to see up to 3 movies a week. I never see 3 movies a week, but it ends up being
you see 3 a day.
Yeah.
No, I really don't anymore. Ever since I moved, I'm like, I can barely function anymore. But I did see stuff in the last month or so.
Is it because it's too hot to go see a movie? Or
it's because they've actually had ice storms here.
Oh,
yeah, it's quite the opposite in Texas.
Wow.
So,
okay.
in Texas, where I'm at now, it constantly rains, and they had ice storms, and their campus was closed, and they had no electricity. I had electricity, no. So I got an AMC A-list membership recently, and I saw some really wonderful movies because of it. I'll name a few that I've seen through that: The Fabelmans, The Whale, Livin', A Man Called Otto, and 80 for Brady, which that's a story in itself.
Oh my God.
Yes, I did.
You saw that on purpose?
Yes, it's a long story. But then some other movies I did see were Amsterdam, She Said, Pinocchio, the Del Toro version, not the shitty Disney version, Causeway, spoiler alert, and Empire Light.
Okay, so that's more than me. Can you give us a quick summary of each?
Sure, I'll go in order of what I wrote.
Please.
The list. So Amsterdam, that was David O. Russell's movie. I saw it on HBO Max. It flopped in theaters. It was terrible. It was very boring. Christian Bale, Chris Rock. There were so many famous people in it, but I love David O. Russell, City of Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, Three Kings. But oh God, that was a doozy to get through. That was on HBO Max. Fabelmans, that was Steven Spielberg's movie. That's pretty much semi-autobiographical about his childhood and him becoming a film director. I really liked it.
I thought it was great. It was fantastic. And Judd Hirsch had better win Best Supporting Actor for 8 minutes of being on film. He was fantastic.
He was great in it. I don't know about winning the Oscar, but he's really terrific.
Come on,
in it.
Judi Dench won it for 8 minutes in Shakespeare in Love. Why can't he win it? I mean, just the whole tearing of the shirt and coming up and damn near choking the kid. I just thought the passion and the range he threw into that thing, he went from being kind of a crazy person, then you understand why he's crazy.
I think the guy from Everything Everywhere All at Once has the momentum right now.
Oh, sure. I wouldn't, yeah, exactly. But I would not be disappointed if that would be my upset pick.
Yeah,
Key is going to win it for sure.
But fantastic movie. I really enjoyed it. And it kind of reminded me of why I like movies in the first place. She said that was about the New York Times investigation about Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, yeah.
That was very good. It's kind of like All the President's Men, kind of like that same formula, like trying to uncover this mystery, the story, and seeing it unravel. Really strong performances. I thought Carey Mulligan was going to get an Oscar nomination, but she didn't, and it deserves more praise. That was on Peacock. One of my favorite movies of the year was The Whale. Have you guys seen that?
No, but I want to.
I've heard of it, but really favorite of the year?
One of the favorites. It was
Okay.
fantastic. I really, really like Darren Aronofsky. Like, he's made very few movies, like single-digit number movies, but so many masterpieces, like The Wrestler, Requiem for a Dream, and a few others I can't think of offhand. But The Whale, Brandon Fraser is fantastic in it. Like, if he does win the
Canadian.
Oscar, he deserves it.
That's true. I've heard mixed reviews about that movie, but very good acclaim about Fraser's performance. So he got a nomination, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He got Golden Globe for it. That was the whole thing, is he and Key. So Key was they were both in Encino Man together.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
And so it was one of those cool kind of connections afterwards.
And didn't you
Okay.
think Pauly Shore was going to get the Oscar?
Oh, he
for him?
should.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's really funny that they're both the front runners in those categories, that they're both in Encino Man, which is like really wild. Now, some people have critiqued The Whale because it's like a play, because it takes place really in his apartment, the entire movie. But I didn't think it felt like a play. And it was really fantastic. Although the opening scene is a little like, one of my friends saw it with his parents on Christmas Day. And let's just say it's not the kind of movie usually you would want to go see with your parents, how it opens the movie. So,
Okay.
Yeah, and that was my concern with going to a theater, was because I always heard it was just like they shot a play. And I don't need to, go, even though it's like $6 and you can sit by yourself in a theater. I really thought they would stream it by now, but they haven't.
it's doing surprisingly well, because when I saw it like 3 weeks ago, it was like a packed theater. Like, it was
Really?
like one of those, like in the AMC, it was like a smaller one, like let's say 50 seats, but it was almost all full. And it was an afternoon matinee, which I was kind of shocked. And then I saw Live In, the one with
Bill Nighy.
Yeah, Bill Nighy, who's nominated for an Oscar this year.
He is always awesome.
Yes.
That guy, he is. You guys probably haven't seen it, but there was a TV series called State of Play, like in the early 2000s.
Wasn't that a movie?
It was turned into a movie afterwards with Ben Affleck and Russell Crowe. But the
Yeah.
TV series, the British TV series with the young James McAvoy, Kelly MacDonald, and Bill Nighy was the editor of a newspaper. And he stole every scene he was in. It was awesome. And since then, I've been a big Bill Nighy fan.
Bill Nighy's great.
Yeah.
I was on our friend Josh's podcast, The Movies That Rock, and we did Still Crazy. And
Yes.
Bill Nighy's one of the just a brilliant actor. Brilliant.
Absolutely. Shaun of the Dead as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really good movie. Not like great, but I enjoyed it. It's a remake of Akira Kurosawa's Ikaru, which is like a classic 1952 movie. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Pinocchio, the Guillermo del Toro version, that was good, I guess. It was on Netflix.
It was depressing and sad. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
It definitely was. He definitely, was a little bit of a downer, because I like the original Pinocchio, the one from Disney, of course, not the newer one with Tom Hanks that looks.
Not as much fascism in that one as there is in Del Toro's.
Yeah, for sure. That was okay. Like, I didn't love it, but I thought it was good. I guess it's nominated for the best animated movie Oscar.
That's my winner.
Yeah,
It's going to win for sure.
it's just on his name alone.
I have a stupid question.
Sure.
Pinocchio, the source material, was it the Disney
No.
stuff, or was it
No.
taken from a book or a story from years ago or something?
So the Pinocchio is from really the 19th century. It's like from, I think, if I have like 1880s, I would say, like
Okay.
late 19th century. And yeah, it's just been adapted like 800 billion times. It seems.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Like, do people feel that way about certain characters? Like, there's a plethora of movies out there, TV shows about Pinocchio that like the world didn't ask for per se.
Yes. Yeah, good point. Just like Spider-Man movies nowadays.
It's so true.
But okay, so yeah, sorry I interrupted, but still, would you recommend that version of Pinocchio?
Sure, it was good. It's just like what he said. It was more of a downer. It was a lot darker. It almost reminded me of like Tim Burton. Like, I don't know if you agree with that,
Mhm.
where it's like,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I probably should have known better because like his movies are like that. So like,
Yes.
But Drew, I would not have your kids watch it.
no.
No.
No,
Okay.
it's really sad. And like,
Good to know.
Jesus, that bad?
yeah, well, it's good. It's just not, I have no strings, none of that.
Okay.
It's dark.
There is music though in it,
Yeah,
which I
but
was kind of like,
It's all in a
but-
minor key, though, isn't it? So-
yeah. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna have music in here, I guess.
I'm intrigued now. Because to be honest, I had no interest in watching it previously, but now I'm like, okay, maybe it's worth a shot after all.
Well, and the voice acting's great. It's Ewan McGregor does Jiminy Cricket, even though they don't call him Jiminy Cricket.
Tilda Swanson is in it. Kate Blanchett.
Oh, the guy who played he plays the new old Doctor in Doctor Who. If you watch that, he's the guy who will play the first Doctor. He was also the caretaker in all of the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, I'm blanking.
He does the voice of Geppetto. So
Yeah, I know who you mean. I'm blanking at the moment.
boy, this is great content. Sorry.
That's
Who's the guy? Anyway,
You know that guy in that movie?
the guy
that
in the
girl?
thing with his stuff.
Causeway. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was on Apple TV Plus. I saw that recently.
I heard of it. I don't remember why.
Jennifer Lawrence,
What's special about that movie?
because the guy in it is nominated for an Oscar.
Okay, but like, okay. Jesus, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Apple did not do a good job of promoting it because I didn't even know it existed until someone told me about it. And then I was like, oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember what this movie is about, and now it's driving me crazy.
It's about Jennifer Lawrence as a soldier. She has PTSD and she's trying to adjust back to civilian life. And she goes back to her New Orleans town and she befriends, I'm blanking on the actor's name.
Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta.
Yes. And they both have traumas that they deal with and they're trying to like get past, but it's hard for them. And I really enjoyed it. It's a very low key movie. It has like an independent movie kind of quality to it. But, you know, J-Law brings it, I think, every time she's on screen. Yeah, it was really, really like strong movie, I thought.
By the way, the actor's name that you're thinking of is David Bradley.
Yes.
I just looked it up. And he also plays the Ricky Gervais's dad in Afterlife. I mean, he's in tons of things. He's a well-known British actor, but not well enough known that we remembered his name. But, you know,
He is a that guy.
yeah, he's definitely a that guy. He's one of those character actors that you're like, he's in this too, and he's in this, and you know.
The next one was Spoiler Alert. That was the one based on the memoir by Michael Alcello. I'm probably butchering his last name, but he was a writer for TV Guide, and his husband had terminal cancer, and that's the spoiler alert. But you know, it like the first like minute of the movie, really, really good. And Sally Field is in that as well. So I mean, my movie club did Dorma Ray recently. It's like I don't know. I guess like we have a Sally Field thing going on this month. But really, really good movie. That's on Peacock. I highly recommend it. It's almost like, do you remember?
Did you like it? You really, really liked it?
Oh, I love it. I really,
Come on.
really love it.
Applaud.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
Yeah. Sally Field is awesome. I don't know anyone who doesn't like her, by the way, but she's like a minor character because Jim Parsons is one of the leads in it.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
kind of like, do you guys remember the Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen movie 50-50?
Yes.
It's kind of like that, like right up that territory.
Okay.
That's on Peacock. Highly recommended. Really quick, because I know John Lamro hated this and we got the argument, but it was the Dionne Warwick documentary, Don't Make Me Over. It was really good. It's on HBO Max. If you want to know more about Dionne Warwick, go check it out. A Man Called Otto. I saw that in theaters. That was really good. Like, it's based on a book and it's a remake of a Swedish movie that came out about 10 years ago. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be very sappy, and it was, but I mean,
Because isn't it about just he's a grumpy man and they explain why he's grumpy?
well, You kind of have,
That's my elevator pitch for it, you guys, in case.
it's kind of like you can't judge a book by its cover. I think that's the best way to put it. Like, because on the outside, he seems like this grumpy, terrible like guy, but on the inside, he's a very nice guy, and like he's done so much that you would like look at him differently. But they only know him for being this grumpy old man kind of character. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that was a movie when I saw it. There was a lot of elderly people, and it kind of made me think to myself, like, wow, like they're coming to see this movie at like the third or fourth weekend of its release, and that kind of makes me at least a little hopeful that movie theaters will continue because they're kind of dying out, and I don't know.
Just like the people in that theater.
Well, like,
I mean, come on, Nick, you set me up. This was
You did. It was perfect.
like, yeah, it was a
I don't
ball.
know. It's just like it gave me. It was like my Fablemans moment in January, where I was like, okay, like I could kind of see movies happening because I thought they were dying, like as an art form, like seeing it like on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was good. It's sappy, but whatever.
So I tend to judge stuff now. Is it an in-theater movie, or do you wait for streaming?
You can wait for streaming on it.
Okay. Because that's kind of like with The Whale, same kind of question. That's how I've been lobbying on a lot of my movie selections right now.
Sorry, minor glitch here. We are just going to talk about 80 for Brady.
Get yourself up. Tell me about this
Piece of
shit show of a movie.
Yes.
Pardon. Now we're
So I saw it because I originally wasn't going to see it. I was going to wait for my mom to see it with her because she likes everyone who's in it. Like it's Jane Fonda, it's Lily Tomlin, it's Sally Field, it's Rita Moreno. It's a lot of people. And people in my movie club, which Patrick has attended, half of them saw it and they all thought it was really good. And these are people that are like very like, what's the word I want to use? Like they're very opinionated. And I was kind of intrigued almost. I was like, 80 for Brady, like the one about the four old women that want to go to the Super Bowl to see Tom Brady. And they were like, yeah, it was very moving. And I'm like, I thought it was being punked, honestly. I was kind of like not sure what was going on. And I have the A-list membership. I was like, what the fuck? I'm just going to go see this movie. And I was probably the only dude there. And that was probably under the age of like 80, like probably like 50. And that was another one that was kind of packed. And
so if I want to pick up a nice older lady, I should go see 80 for Brady?
Hey, I almost did that, Woody. So,
all right.
Well.
Hey, now.
Hey, you got to go where the money is. That's all I say.
Didn't see that coming.
Maybe the matinee is not as much money. You got to go after 8.
But it was cute. It's like, is it great? No, but we need more feel-good movies like 80 for Brady, in my opinion. And movies have been very dark lately, and I don't know. I feel like I'm always a big proponent of especially comedies because that's one of my favorite things. And people were laughing at during the movie, and I was thinking like, wow, people are enjoying this. Like, I'm gonna get off my high horse a little, and it was like, whatever, kinda.
They were laughing at each other for having paid to see this movie.
No, they were laughing at the shit because there's some really funny sex jokes in it that like were making me laugh, and I was like, "Wow!" Like they're going there with some of this material.
And the 4 of them have been doing the talk show circuit, and they're fantastic. Yes. I mean, just like listening to Rita Moreno talk about how, when she's in her 80s and doesn't have any friends anymore, and then Jane Fonda looks over her and says, yeah, that's why we reached out to you, because we want to be your friend. And that's how you have to make friends now. And it's like, oh, wow. He's like getting choked up.
Woody, sit down for this one. She's like 91 or 92.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's
I am sitting,
insane.
Nick. I'm in a chair, but thanks.
I haven't seen this movie, and you're going to, listeners, spoiler alert, I haven't seen any movies, but that's a different story. But I've at the point in my life now, and on other episodes and stuff, I want to like what I like. I don't really care if it's a critical darling or not. So if somebody goes there to the theater or watches it on anything on streaming or to the theater and they like it, then all the power to them.
Exactly.
So, I mean, for me, I think films like this, from what I can tell from the trailer, because I've seen the trailers, it's hit or miss, right? And like you said, Nick, there might be some really clever lines or something like that, and maybe that saves it. I don't know. Or it might be the company you're with when you see it. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure mine will be substantially younger, but that's different. So
I was probably the only person in the theater didn't have an AARP membership or was eligible to have an AARP
you
membership.
do have an A membership. What is it? AMC?
A plus.
Yeah, AMC.
Yeah, you have an
Plus.
AMC membership.
But the thing is, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but I think Tom Brady's production company financed this
Yes.
movie. And
Oh, this movie
just
is
knowing
an
that,
infomercial for him.
that's what made me roll my eyes about this movie, to be honest.
But do you think now, because he's gotten divorced, like any money it makes, it's kind of that. Remember when Eddie Murphy told the joke about Johnny Carson? Like half.
Yeah.
Oh, this whole movie is like, they treat him like an Adonis. It's like ridiculous.
They haven't seen him play last season.
Yeah.
No, they definitely haven't. But I recommend it. It's like, again, it's a popcorn movie. You don't have to think, but if you want to pick up someone that's older, that's a good way to do it.
Make a note, Woody.
All right. Let me check with the wife on Valentine's Day.
I know, right? And the last one I saw the other night was Empire Light. That was the movie with Olivia Colman and directed by Sam Mendes. That was shit. Oh my god.
Oh.
I was so sad. I love Sam Mendes. Like, I love Skyfall. I love American Beauty. I love 1917. Oh my god, this movie was so boring. It was so bland. Like, you know what it's about, right?
Refresh my memory, please.
It's basically about like a movie theater in like early 80s UK. And basically they hire a black employee, and it's very segregated and racially divided, that area of England at that time. And just like the racism and like the politics of like that area. And then the theater's like divided because they're trying to renovate it, ironically, to screen Chariots of Fire, to try to revamp its image, which, if you've seen Chariots of Fire, that's another snoozer.
Yep.
And that won a Best Picture. But yeah, it's like one of those movies where, like, for an hour and 15-minute movie, they tried to tell like 5 different stories and none of it landed. And I was just like, they gave good performances. The cinematography, which is not Oscar nominated, beautifully done. It looks great, but it's like Wes Anderson. There's just nothing there for me. And I just watched The French Dispatch a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh God, so.
What? French Dispatch was great.
Grand Budapest Hotel was better.
Is better.
Yes.
Yes.
Is better. Yes.
Wes Anderson is more of a miss for me for some reason. It's style over substance, in my opinion.
I think Mudford doesn't really like him either, if I remember.
Yeah, I won't step in front of a bus for him, but I just think visually his stuff is fantastic.
Can I push him in front of a bus? No, I'm kidding.
Depends how big's the bus.
Who's driving it? Is it a Speed 4? Because then maybe. Right?
It's probably someone that didn't get a role in one of his movies. And which is sad, because if you watch like French Dispatch, there's like literally dozens and dozens of famous people, and you have to stop and say, oh, that's so and so, kind of. But yeah, Empire Lights was not that good. I was so disappointed by it because I thought that was a real Oscar contender.
Isn't Olivia Colman nominated?
I don't think this year. No.
It's just the cinematography.
Roger Deakins, probably?
Roger Deakins, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in 1917, it was Deakins as well, and that movie was stunning to look at.
That was beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Okay, so that covers it for movies, Nick?
Yeah, I think I covered it for,
the next 5 episodes.
For everyone. No kidding.
All right. No, thanks. No, that was great information. Lots of recommendations in there as well. So, Mike, you said you had 0 movies.
None.
You didn't even try to start one?
You know what? I think about it. I watched Matilda. I watched the musical Matilda on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think since we chatted last.
Okay.
I liked it. It was fine. A lot of people didn't like it. And the people that I have talked to that didn't like it, the complaint is because they're fond of the earlier version. But this is just a different version. I really like Tim Minchin, and who wrote the screenplay for it. And the songs are great. And the relationships between, the teachers and Matilda is great. But, I'm not shouting it from the rooftops that people need to go watch it or anything. So.
Have you done your TikTok video of you dancing like her?
I have not, and I don't have any hair for somebody to swing me by, so, Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah. Speaking of spoiler alert, is it me or I haven't seen the movie, but I thought it was a really shit title for a movie. Or am I the only one to think that? Or
For
What?
what movie?
Matilda?
spoiler alert?
Oh, spoiler
Spoiler
alert.
alert.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the guy's memoir. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Okay. But I still think it's not a good title.
I think it's because, like, let me see what the secondary title is.
Better or worse than 80 for Brady?
80 for Brady is
That's a
not
good
as
question.
good as Spoiler Alert. Like, Spoiler Alert will make you cry probably because it's a very sad movie.
I just meant title. I wasn't talking about the actual film.
And speaking of shit title, I have one on my list. So yeah, give me a few minutes and we'll
Can I
cover it.
just add one more that I forgot, Patrick, and then
Sure.
move on? Was Babylon? I saw that.
On my list.
Oh,
What did you think?
I liked it. I mean, I was in a theater that was I think the last movie I saw in New Mexico before I moved, and it was like, what, 3+ hours?
Close
Yeah.
to it, yeah.
Way too long.
3 hours, 7 minutes, I think.
Yeah, really insanely long. And I remember being in a theater, and I had this elderly couple that would not shut the fuck up the entire time while I was watching it. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, stop. Like, do you ever get that? But sometimes, like, when you're in a theater and you're just like, oh, stop talking, kind of.
I don't go to the theater anymore, partly for that reason.
But yeah, it was good. It's just like what he said. It's too long. It's too excessive, and it's a vanity project. It feels like for Damien Chazelle, who's really a great director, and I don't think it's a bad movie at all. But it's so bloated, and I don't know why it needs to be 3.5 hours almost.
Yeah, there was that whole scene with Tobey Maguire.
Ooh,
Like, why was that needed? I understand it was in, but I just love that, like, certain things, like Ethan Suplee was his bodyguard, the big heavyset guy from all of the, like, Kevin Smith movies. I love the little things like that because I love the what were they in, and we have to give a shout out Mary's her
Joffrey's, yes.
costumes were beautiful.
Yes.
That, and not just because Marie's our friend, but I think of everybody, she deserves it, because, like, Wakanda Forever, they just used the costumes from last time. So
yeah,
Yeah.
the costumes were very beautiful, and yeah, congratulations to Mary on her Oscar nomination. Another Oscar nomination for her.
Yes. Her fourth, I think.
I think so.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Nick. Okay, so Mike, you're good with
I'm
movies?
done.
Okay. All right, so Woody, what do you have with movies?
Yep. So the only crossovers I had were Fablemans and Babylon. Both of those I saw in a theater with one other person in the theater,
Nice.
which was
Wow.
brilliant. And no, I didn't talk to them or sit next to them, so I wasn't creepy that way.
Was it one of those theaters with like the beds? Like you're like,
One of them was. And one of them was, and it was on like a Friday afternoon. I took the afternoon off and went. It was one of those. It was quite fun.
as long as they don't start snoring, I guess
Right.
it's okay, right?
Or doing something else?
For The Whale, I saw that where it was like that, and I got like a popcorn and a soda because I was like, oh, okay, I'll get it. And I watched the movie, and I'm like, oh God, I feel like such a schmuck eating this popcorn with this movie about this morbidly obese man. Like, I felt like I was like, what is going on in my life? The one time I buy popcorn and soda.
You wanted to relate to him, you know?
Right.
That's how.
No, I was like, what am I doing?
Pinocchio, I also saw. That was another crossover one. One that we didn't, though, was The Sea Beast, which is also up for Best Animated. That one was really, I would say, very straightforward kid animated movie. So where you think the thing is bad and it's not, and it's good, and the thing you think is good is bad, but good, straightforward, perfect kids movie. Recommend that to anybody.
Is that on Netflix?
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I think my son watched it, but I wasn't with him when he did.
It's a sweet one. I want to hit one that do not watch,
Okay.
which is Shotgun Wedding on Amazon.
Yes.
It's the Jennifer Lopez. Oh my God, what the hell did they make that? And it was one of those trying to find something the wife and I would like to watch, and sat down on the couch. 15 minutes in, I'm looking at her going, we can stop watching this. She goes, no, it's okay. But then and then my wife just starts predicting the next thing that's going to happen, and the next thing that's going to happen, and the next thing that's going to happen. And I'm like, why are we watching this then? She goes, it's fine. And then she even went, Jennifer Lopez is hot. I'm like, yeah, I'll agree with that. And Josh Duhamel, I always like him. I think he's a little underrated in my opinion. I love the stuff that he does, but that movie is terrible. I want to throw out a documentary. So some of you guys know I like to cook.
Mhm.
And one of the people that started, so this whole tasting menu craze that a lot of people know of, where you go and have like 15 dishes, a lot of people think that was started by a guy named Charlie Trotter, who was a chef. I'm in Chicago, and it was a chef in Chicago in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. They put out a documentary about him called Love Charlie. It's only on pay-per-view that I could find. But it talks about the rise and the fall of this guy from being like one of the most well-renowned, respected chefs to literally he had a stroke and then just kind of went nuts. And it was amazing. And so just if you're looking for something that tells kind of a good rags to riches to rags story, it's fantastic. And
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm always surprised that there's not more stories based on that, because on like chefs and kitchens, etc., because it is one of the most stressful jobs. And, you know, the tales these guys can tell and girls can tell, like, it's just crazy. So, yeah, I'm sure that actually sounds right up my alley. So,
yeah, I think you'd like it because there was, I'm trying to find out because one of his chefs, a guy named Curtis Duffy, was one of Charlie Trotter's chefs. He's gone on to create the second 3-star Michelin restaurant in Chicago.
Mhm.
He did a documentary a few years back, and he and a bunch of the chefs try to go back to Charlie Trotter, and Charlie won't let them in because all of these chefs sued him for back pay.
Jesus.
And so they walk up, the documentary crew with the chefs walk up to the door, and Charlie comes out and going, "Who are you?
yeah.
You're not coming in here. Oh, what, now that you sued me?" They actually use that footage in this documentary too.
Wow.
Wow.
It's fantastic. So that was one that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I loved it. It actually made me go out and buy like 4 of his cookbooks because he was one of the first guys to start like beautiful pictures, then the recipe, because the whole thing you eat with your eyes first. And so it was brilliant. I really, really liked it. The other one I want to throw out there is Tar.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was literally when I'm on my Oscar hunt, I threw that up, and within 2 minutes, you go, "Oh, I see why Cate Blanchett was nominated."
For sure.
And then the evolution on that movie, and for those of you that aren't familiar with it, she plays a fictitious conductor who is at the top of her game, and then stuff starts to deteriorate, and they pull the threads out on her, and it didn't end at all like I thought it was going to. Again, though, Nick, like what we talked about with the other ones, super long.
Yeah, my movie club is doing it in a few weeks because it's on Peacock now, and I'm dying to see it, but I know I'm gonna need to be like fully alert to watch it.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who is he doesn't have an AMC Plus membership, but he has a Chicago Symphony membership, so he goes to the symphony all the time. And I asked him to watch it, and he was like, "It's pretty dead on for like what the ecosystem is," because even like they hired actual classical musicians to play the band,
Okay.
to play the orchestra. So these people aren't actors. And even like the second lead female in it, who I thought did a really good job, found out she's a cellist, that she learned to act watching, I think, like Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks videos. It was something kind of weird like that. It's really, really was quite interesting when you start to read the backstory of it.
It's a great movie. It's long, but it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And it's an event too because Todd Field only did 2 movies, so they were all Oscar favorites because it was In the Bedroom and Little Children.
Yep.
It's his first movie in 16 years, I think.
Yeah.
So worth it for sure. So yeah, please, Woody, continue.
Next one I've got, I don't have many more because again, like Drew, I was pretty TV heavy. Was You People on Netflix.
Oh, I want to see this.
I do too.
Right, that is Eddie Murphy. Why am I blanking on his name?
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, thank you. The girl, I don't know her from anything, but like Nia Long is in it, who plays Eddie Murphy's wife. It was interesting. I don't know what I was looking for going into it, but it's about a Jewish guy in his mid 30s who works for a investment banking firm who accidentally gets in the back of a car being driven by an African-American woman because he thinks it's his Uber. And she freaks out. And she's like, what? You just think because I'm an African-American woman driving a small car that I'm your Uber? And he goes, no, it actually on my app says it's this car and she is African-American. Honest mistake. And he said, I think I can help you get where you're trying to go because I listened to you were trying to get directions. And so it's a love story spun off of that and about the racial tensions between people. And I just think it was addressed nicely. Perfect Netflix movie. It's a feel-good movie without, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was terrible for a Netflix movie.
Is that the one that it's sort of like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's very much one of those, it's got very good Eddie Murphy-ish stuff in it, like slapstick comedy, some of that type of thing. But overall, it's got kind of a loving feel to it. So I really like that. So looking down my list, those are the movies I think that are worth talking about. One, I want to warn you to not watch certain things because our time is valuable. But the other stuff is good.
All right. Okay, I guess it's... and do you have any movies to avoid, Woody?
Shotgun Wedding one, man. That was
Okay.
Stay the hell away from that.
Okay. Noted. All right, so my turn, I guess. I saw Babylon as well, and I agree with what you said, Nick. It's 3 hours and change. The first half is excellent, I think, and I liked the excess in the first half. Like the first half hour, the party is insane.
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
I love that part. But I think the last hour, it runs out of steam a little bit, especially with the mob thing.
Yeah.
And I think the ending fell flat because of it wasn't one of those the magic of movies montages. And it kind of made me roll my eyes a little bit. And I'm not sure the guy, his name is Diego Calva, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure if he was up to it.
I agree. I didn't buy him in the role because it's one of those, they were trying to force to me some different racial undertones throughout the entire thing. And that one I felt was super forced. The guy who played the lead of the band, that I felt was pretty nailed from what I know of that.
Yep. I agree.
I think the thing too is Margaret Robbie was really great in that movie. So it's really a shame that she wasn't getting, I guess, a more award buzz because I thought she was incredible in it. And
I thought it was also very similar. Sorry for interrupting, Nick, but I thought also very similar to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The role.
Yeah, that's kind of true because that movie's also kind of about the transition of one era to another. In this case, from silent to sound. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt just a mess a little, but I liked it. But just didn't do as much as I wanted to. But yeah, I still don't know why it's 3.5 hours though.
It was flawed, but still fun, I think. But yeah, they could have trimmed a solid half hour at least. I also saw Bones and All.
Oh, was that good?
Yeah, yes, I really liked it, actually. There was a strange mix of horror movie, road movie, coming of age movie, all at the same time. And there was kind of a sweetness to it as well, but not sappy, but just the right tone. And coming from a cynical bastard like me, that's something. And Mark Rylance is in it as well, steals every scene he is in. Timothée Chalamet, I know that some people don't like him, but I don't mind him at all. He was great in it.
I like him in the Apple commercial.
Yeah.
Where he's,
I just don't get it personally.
It's okay.
But I will make a joke, and I hope this isn't a bad taste, but it's from the director of Call Me By Your Name.
Yes.
And Timothée Chalamet is in that,
yes.
Right? Where is Armie Hammer in this movie, especially if it's a movie about cannibals?
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of
that's a good call, though.
Yeah, but good call, but no spoilers.
Oh.
No, that's okay. It's not a super recent movie, so that's fine. I also saw Megan.
Oh,
the Blumhouse horror production.
Do you do the Megan dance just like
I did not
the Matilda dance?
There you go.
I did not.
Dance off, boys.
To be honest, I expected a complete piece of crap. So my expectations were super low, but I was quite entertained. But of course, it doesn't hold up if you start, picking it apart. For example, you have this piece of technology that every company in the world would kill for, but you still, bring her to summer camp, but don't take pictures, please. Like, come on. We have the dumbest, smart people in the entire world taking care of that robot. But anyway, it's fun.
I'm pretty sure half of the videos that were considered horror in the 80s that went straight to video, the only reason they survived was because half the population is dumb.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're going to summer camp. Isn't there a killer there? Yeah, let's go. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It's okay.
I also saw Triangle of Sadness.
I want to see that so badly.
It looked terrible.
I did not like it at all. And because the Rupert Ostlund, I think the director's name is, I think it's his third movie. The first one was Force Majeure in a ski resort in France. That was amazing. Second one was The Square. I didn't see it.
Right.
But this one, Triangle of Sadness, the first part on the boat is good, but the second part turns kind of into a shitty Lord of the Flies. It's way too much on the nose. And I was like, I couldn't care at that point. So I expected to like it, but I really did not. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm dying to see it. It's like, and I'm not paying like $10 to rent it either. Like,
you're paying with your time.
No, I said I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like I wish it was playing in a theater, but yeah, it looks interesting, and it's a Palme d'Or winner. So, and he's one of the few directors that has multiple Palme d'Or. So that's what kind of caught my eye.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, I don't know why it won, because it was too, like I said, too on the nose, too like easy, if you know what I mean. Not subtle enough or something.
It is European. No, I'm kidding.
Well, okay, so that's another conversation entirely. What else? Okay, I got two more. Okay, so I talked about lazy movie titles or shitty movie titles earlier. I saw Plane with Gerard Butler.
Oh, how was that?
And Luke Cage. That's just for Mutford. I'm
Yes.
saying that was Luke Cage in there.
Yes, Luke Cage. And okay, again, my expectations were on the ground pretty much, and I liked it quite a bit. To my surprise.
Really?
Yeah, it's really...
Give me the gist of it. I just know it's like a plane wreck and they're assassins or something.
Okay, so they have to crash land on an island, like somewhere in the Philippines, and this island was controlled by rebels. So even the government won't go there. So like the pilot, Gerard Butler, and the passengers, including Luke Cage, they have to fight their way out of the island. And no, honestly, it was a pleasant surprise. And I learned today that Luke Cage, I forgot his name.
I know it's Mike something.
Yeah, Michael something. Well, let's call him Luke Cage. Okay, so Luke has signed on to the sequel of Plane. It will be called, and I shit you not, Ship. And it will take place on a boat. That's no joke.
Nice.
So, pleasant surprise. What else? I saw a Korean horror movie called, and Mutford would be all over this, Project Wolf Hunting. It's kind of a zombie movie, if you like. Okay, the story and the characters are paper thin, but it doesn't matter because they get killed off like 5 a minute. It's insane, the body count in that movie. But the gore, like if you want a dose of gore and ultra-violence, that's your ticket. But I wouldn't go out of my way to find it on streaming platforms. Tactical acquisition, why not? Low effort. Yeah, it was a fun time, but let's not, don't go out of your way to see it. And one other movie, documentary. Woody, you had one? I have one as well. It's called Cockroach. It's about the riots in Hong Kong in 2019. I don't know if you guys remember.
Mm-hmm.
There was this Chinese filmmaker and artist called Ai Weiwei, I think, Aiweiwei. I think he lives in Berlin now. This movie might be difficult to find, just a warning, but the visuals are insane. It's hard to describe because they interviewed tons of, many of them were students, like the final siege took place at a university. And there is crazy footage there, like, police firing tear gas at people's head and, shit like this. It's brutal stuff. So yeah, I have no idea where you can find it, but Cockroach, it's good.
Cockroach. Cool.
You said he's a Chinese filmmaker.
Yes.
Does it have, I mean, I can kind of guess from what you just said, but it doesn't have like a pro-China slant to it then?
On the contrary. Yeah, because it was like the Chinese government who was, since the handover of Hong Kong in 97, I think, they've been turning
97?
the screw, 97 or 99?
In late 90s, yeah, you're right. I don't remember.
And they've been turning the screw ever since. And yeah, people are getting fed up, and students stood up to them. And yeah, some pretty crazy stuff happened there. I really recommend it. It's good. And also, one I'm looking forward to, and my last movie of the list as well, is Infinity Pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From Brandon Cronenberg, who also did Possessor. I talked about Possessor on a previous episode. I loved it. And from what I heard, Infinity Pool is even crazier than Possessor. So if that's your thing, if you like fucked up stuff and body horror, and it stars Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth.
Yeah.
I might watch it after we finish recording tonight, actually. I'm really looking forward to it.
That's the effect we have on you, Patrick. You just want to watch a straight up bloody horror movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm always up for some ultra violence all the time.
You know what's a horror movie I want to see that's coming out, I think, this month? And I don't know why, because we had some of my friends, they're more into horror than I am. Like, I like it okay. But I really want to see this Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie, because it looks so disturbingly, like, scary. And it's like, because you guys know, right? Like, they kind of had the copyright now is open to use Winnie the Pooh. So that's why they're making this movie. Looking at pictures, like, there was a New York Times piece on it. And I was like, wow, like, this looks like, I don't know if it's good, bad, but like I kind of have to see what the hell's going on in 100 acre forest or whatever it's called, or wood. So
100 Acre Woods.
Yeah.
All right.
So Patrick, I forgot to. If I can use my new guy card.
Sure.
I forgot to.
Please.
First, one is a watch and one is a don't watch, which I think is good. So I'm going to give you the watch first, which is The Menu.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yes.
So, which I couldn't believe I forgot The Menu. Again, being a nerd, because it starts out like the guy is basically me, who's like, you just got to watch him. Oh my God, this is so amazing. And Anna Taylor-Joy, as you figure out her story going throughout this entire thing, because it's an exclusive island where a bunch of people are invited to it, and then you find out why they're invited to it. It is not a horror movie at all. People will try to tell you it's a horror movie. It's more of a suspense movie, if anything. But
yeah.
The payoff at the ending to me was Ratatouille, which I didn't really like. And I'll leave it up to that. I mean, because I expected a better ending than that. And I'll just leave it, but definitely watch it. It's not a big theater movie, but definitely watch it. The one that might be, sorry, I don't know if you anything on that, but the controversial one I think is Banshees of Inisherin. I thought sucked.
Okay.
It was boring. And they're like, oh, you just didn't get the black comedy of it. Oh, I did. It was boring.
And did you like his previous movies, like In Bruges and
Three Billboards?
Three Billboards. Yes.
So I like Three Billboards. Have not seen In Bruges.
Okay.
Yeah, In Bruges is slow. I feel like In Bruges it's a good movie. I didn't feel like people who liked it loved it. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. Like, I don't know. That was just me.
But yeah, it's a specific style, and it might not be for everyone. That's true.
No, I don't know why they all got Best Actor, Best Actress nominations. I don't get it at all. So anyway, that's my you don't have to watch if you don't need to. Movie.
Actually, it's weird because my movie club is doing it on Saturday. And I don't know if you saw this, Patrick. We have almost 50 people signed up for it, which is going for a record. How many will actually show up? Who the hell knows? But I was kind of surprised that we're getting that much traction for this movie.
I'll try and be there if I can on Saturday.
I'm busy that night. Sorry, guys.
It's in the morning.
I'm at that morning. I'm busy
all day.
I saw that in a theater in early November in LA, Banshees of Inisherin, and I was like surprised at how much I liked it. I was like really taken aback by it. But I've got to rewatch it, so I'm kind of curious. But yeah, I'm a little surprised it's getting that much Oscar buzz. But I feel that way about Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like where some people love it, they like love it, but then like I'm kind of like it's okay, I guess.
See, then I'm on the I loved it for that one.
I know.
All right, so okay, that covers movies, I think. Okay, so we can move on to TV. Mike, let's start with you.
Yeah, sorry, I've been like sitting patiently, quietly in the corner.
Oh wait, I brought up 2 other movies.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna. I don't know if anybody else again has these on their list, so I'll kind of limit it, and I guess the Discord can kind of come from there. But I will say series 3 of Jack Ryan, which was on Amazon Prime. It makes me want to travel even more. Maybe not to Russia, but yeah, it's fine. I think it was probably the worst of the 3 series, and I don't mean it was bad. It was just not. I mean, the scenery is stunning. The settings are stunning. I mean, I want to go to Greece now when I saw that Mike guy's house and the views. I think, Patrick, you and I were talking about it by text a while ago, and I called it kind of junk food TV.
Yeah.
It's fine, and I think I could really like it more in the sense that, like, I'm sure the Tom Clancy novels are great, but this series just didn't really connect with me as much as the first 2.
I mean, they turned him into Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Because in the books, he was an analyst at first and a Marine as well, but like first an analyst. And it kind of was on target in series 1. In series 2, not quite. But series 3 is like, okay, you're James Bond now, you're invincible.
Well, you're invincible, but you're also like, you're the outsider, right? Oh, they're not listening to you and you're on the right path. Well, you're going to go do it anyway. It's like, and it became a little, I almost said it became a little far-fetched. It's clearly far-fetched, but it's not that it's not entertaining. It certainly is. And like I said, the scenery and the mise en scène of like just the locations are beautiful. And that's kind of what kept me going through it. And there are some great acting. I can't remember the gentleman who plays like the Russian, his mole or whatever.
Yeah, he was, Christ, he was the chief of the Night Watch in Game of Thrones, John, let me look it up. It's going to drive me crazy otherwise.
But he's great in it, and the story's okay, like, and especially now with, tensions between certain countries that, maybe in the news right now. That being said, I'd say it's a solid 6.5, 7 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's the greatest. It was my least favorite of the 3 series.
James Cosmo.
Sure.
That's it.
I'll take your word on that. There you go. Do you want me to keep going like you did?
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. I just looked him up too.
Okay. We've just discovered, I won't say, I shouldn't say we just discovered. My wife and I have been watching the show called CB Strike or Strike.
Ah, yeah.
It's based on the novels by Robert Galbraith, who is AKA J.K. Rowling. It's a crime drama. He plays Strike as a private detective, which is played by Tom Burke. And my wife told me that he was one of the 3 Musketeers when the BBC made that a while ago. I will take her word on that. Robin, which is his kind of like his partner in the detective agency. She doesn't start off that way. Is Holiday Granger, who was in The Capture.
Yes.
She's awesome in this as well. I mean, I actually prefer her character in this, and even though I love her in The Capture as well. We started with, so I think we did see series. So there's 5 series. I saw the 4th one.
Didn't a new one just come out?
Yeah, and series 5 just came out. So I was familiar with the characters, but I actually liked it so much that I've tried to find ways to watch the first series, which we've now started. My wife is a huge reader, and she's read them. Sorry, yeah.
Which streaming platform?
In Canada, it's I think it's HBO.
It's BritBox in the States.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crave in Canada, I guess?
It's on Crave. Yeah, the new series is on Crave. I believe the one before that's on Crave. I had seen that a few years ago. I think that was actually one of the last things that they kind of got in before the pandemic was series 4, if I remember correctly. And then we've gone back to find tacitly acquire. Is that your term?
Yes.
The first series, and it's really good, but it's a little interesting because I'm not familiar with the novels. My wife is, and the new one was called what was the new one called? It was called Troubled Blood. And you start to really kind of know more about the characters, and when you're starting in series 4 and 5 as opposed to series 1, it's kind of, you're like, oh, okay, and then my wife would have to fill me in. Well, this happened or that, and I'd be like, okay. But really good. I'm a big fan of this show. I think the newest series was 4 episodes. Each is about an hour long or so. Yeah, especially if you like that kind of British crime drama, I would definitely recommend it. I've recently just watched, there was a Christmas special. The Brits love having, especially from series that have ended, TV shows that have ended. But I don't know if anybody has ever watched Detectorists. Detectorists. So you would not think that this is interesting, but it's about Mackenzie Crook. He actually writes it as well. He played Gareth in the UK Office. So him and Toby Jones, who was in the Olivia Colman movie that you were talking about earlier, Woody, they play metal detectorists. And it's this kind of slow comedy about, them going to find all these treasures, these Roman coins and all this stuff. And they belong to this detectorists. They call themselves detectors and not metal detectors because metal detectors are the tool.
Oh.
And detectorists are the people who use the tools. But there was a Christmas special that was just on a few weeks ago, or a New Year's special. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, which is quite long for like a one-off TV special. So it's almost like a movie. And it picked up where the series ended a few years ago brilliantly. And just a callback. I know, Patrick, that you love Slow Horses.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I cannot remember the actress's name. But in the second series of Slow Horses, there's the new tech. There's the guy who's the tech guy in the office. And then there's a new character who's with him.
Yes.
So she was in the original Detectorist series.
Okay.
If you like kind of that slow, dry British humor, this show is great. And it's kind of a family show too, in the sense that my son would have absolutely no interest in it. But it's really good. And just the jokes are kind of, they're not on the nose. They're just like these little, and you're like, oh, okay. You kind of catch it as it goes, and brilliant. I will say this is kind of an oddball throw. Patrick, this is something you and I have talked about in the past, but, and again, I'm going British.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sports quiz show that the BBC puts on each week called A Question of Sport.
Yes.
It's very Eurocentric in the sense that they do a lot of Commonwealth. They do a lot of, track of athletes and rugby and things that North Americans like ourselves may not know. This year, what happened was, after years and years and years, they changed the hosts and they changed the captains on the two teams, because there's always two teams. The new captains are Sam Quek, who's a British gold medalist. She plays field hockey. And Hugo Monye, who's a rugby player, a retired rugby player. He played for England, whatever. And the host is Paddy McGuinness, who's a British comedian, done a lot of things with Peter Kay. It started off very almost uncertain of itself because the show is established. Mm-hmm. People tuned in because they always tuned in, right? Or their parents tuned in. And it was this, kind of half-hour weekly sports quiz. It took a little while for it to kind of get going. And that was earlier last year. I think it's really kind of picked up its pace and everybody's starting to gel. And now that the pandemic is over, when they would have the guests who would help answer the questions, up until recently, they were behind plexiglass. They couldn't give each other high fives when they got it. That's all kind of gone now. And I think that's really helped. And I actually really like it. And if even though I don't know 80% of the sports they're talking about, if you're a sports person and you are looking for just something fun to watch for half an hour, if you can find it, it's worth it. So, yeah, my next show, really quickly, I will say Son of Critch, which is on. I know I talked about it in the last episode because it was coming and now it's been on. The second series has been really good. I really like it. Our friend Karen Landry apparently likes it. Apparently, Mutt's going to give it another try. I don't know if he has. And Malcolm McDowell has just become an even crustier old man, but with a bigger heart of gold this series. And I really like that. And then my last one I will say is Young Sheldon is on series 6.
Oh no.
I love the show. I actually love it more than
no.
The Big Bang Theory. I never really
Oh,
Well,
I like Big Bang Theory, and then I feel like Big Bang Theory kind of hit the same fork in the road that what was that Charlie Sheen show? Two and a Half Men.
yeah.
Anger management.
Yeah, whereas it just became, it got to the point, it was like, where do we go from here? And all the jokes got, and I'm not a prude, but all the jokes just kind of got cruder. And that was where the laughs were coming from, the way I found it in later series. And I almost found that with Big Bang as well. It was much more like insert sex joke here. And it was just like, I don't find it as funny. So Young Sheldon, there's no laugh track, right? Big Bang, there was a laugh track. It's much more character driven, I would say, the joke in Young Sheldon. I relate to it for other reasons as well, which I won't get into here. But to be honest, I think this series has been as good as any of the other ones. And I think it's one of the few network comedies I think they do really well.
I'm shocked you said that. I was not sitting here thinking you were going to say Young Sheldon. I do like that show. I think it's actually really good. I mean, it's fun too if you like The Big Bang Theory, because they always make a lot of references to the show, and you'll hear voiceovers from like Amy or Leonard, and it's a cute show. It's like, it's not breaking ground by any means, but it's like, it's good.
Yeah,
nice.
and you know what? We've talked about that. I like nice. I'm old enough now. I just want nice.
Well, you are a nice guy.
I
Mike.
appreciate that.
You know that. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I like the show. I think there's always a morale and like something you learn. That's weird. Like where the story takes place is kind of where I live now, weirdly enough.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like in one of the episodes, I think they actually mentioned the town that I live in now. So it's like kind of weird.
Well, I mean, obviously with Jim Parsons being the narrator, I mean, I don't think, but I'm sure that there are people who watch Big Bang who don't care for Young Sheldon. I'm sure there are. I don't know. I don't go on internet forums and what have you. Do they have forums anymore? I don't know. I don't, whatever the Twitter hashtags, like Young Sheldon stuff, who knows, whatever. I don't know what they say. I just know I really like it. And again, there's not much in the way of go-to network television, at least for me anymore. There's nothing that I think about, I got to DVR that, or I have to, find it, tacitly acquire it later. But that is one of the few shows that you know what, that we should watch that. So I like it. And again, that is one you probably could watch with the family, which I always like to throw one of those selections in. I'm just going to throw in one that I'm actually really looking forward to. There's going to be, apparently it's a Netflix special. There's I don't know if it's a film either, because it's 2 hours long, apparently, but there's a new Luther coming.
Yes.
So, and apparently it's coming out very soon as we record this. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's like a self-contained story as opposed to like the series.
That's the impression I had. And it seems to be more action-oriented than previous Luther series. So I'm going to give it a shot, but I'm intrigued.
I mean, I love the first series.
Yes.
I like the second series.
Yep.
And then I kind of lost interest a little bit.
I think I stopped after the second one.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see where we go with this. I literally have just heard about it. Yeah, so those are my picks. TV, I'm sure there's things I'm actually even forgetting. Like we watch Young Rock, which is actually another network one. If I wasn't a wrestling fan, would I? I don't know. But you know what? It's fun. This series has been a little off, but
I think you like all the shows with Young in the title.
Yeah, for sure. No, but I would definitely say Strike, and I would definitely say Detectorists. And Detectorists is one of those shows too. It's like you don't have to really think about it, but it's so well written and it's just clever and witty, and it's all those things that I love. So those are my selections this time, and I apologize for my silence during the film section, but
No, that's okay. That's okay. It will make the editing easier. I'm joking. If I want to throw in a shitty joke, you mentioned if you like someone who likes everything that has young in the title, there is a really easy porn joke to make it in there, but I won't. I won't.
Well, you're not going to see that on network TV. So let's just.
Yes. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Fair. Fair enough. Okay. So let's go with Nick with TV.
I haven't really seen too much TV that I could think of, but the only thing that really stuck out to me was The White Lotus, the second season. It was really, really great. I really enjoyed it, and it's weird. Those shows, like, has everyone seen The White Lotus?
I have not.
So I've seen the first episode of the first series, and here's what I'd like your opinion on. I don't want to watch shows about miserable people being miserable,
How about rich people
even
being
if it's
miserable?
for comedy. Is that what the show is?
Yes and no. I think of the two seasons as standalone shows. There's one character that's in both of those seasons. It's not a spoiler per se, but I think that show, what I think it does really well is it's like this slow burn effect. Like it takes an episode or two to kind of get used to like the tone and the atmosphere, but I think it's really kind of compelling as you watch it. The first season of it is a little bit more of a drama, I think. It's a little bit more emotional in terms of like the stories that are being told. And the second one, which just debuted, that's the one in Sicily. And as someone who is Italian or Italian American, I think it's like kind of funny to see people like who are from America but never been to Italy try to do as the Romans do, but they're also kind of just like buffoons. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And that's really the only TV show that I've watched, I think, that I could think of. But the only thing I'm going to say that I'm so looking forward to is the end of next month. Like my favorite show of probably like the last like 5 years is coming back, and that's Succession.
Mm.
I love that show so much. I binged it last year, and me and one of my other friends, we were like, oh yeah, we should watch that show. And then we watched it in like, I think it was like a month or 2 months or something like that. We watched all 3 seasons because there were only like 10 episodes. But I'm so looking forward to it. It's incredible.
But again, miserable people being miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just, you know what? Misery loves company, right, Woody? So like, what does that tell me? No,
Boy, that's like set up Spike. Gosh.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, listen, I forgot to add. Sorry, Nick. I just forgot to add. I mentioned on the last episode that my favorite show of 2022 was Minx, which was on HBO.
Yes.
And it was one of those victims of all the cost cutting. But I think I mentioned at the time that the reports were that was basically done. So series 2 has been picked up by Stars. So so I'm very excited. I have no idea. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And listen, this is a day after my birthday, and I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but today it was announced the next series of Ted Lasso starts on March 15th.
15th,
and the trailer is the music is Frank Turner, which I don't know, people I love. I was just like, it's an early birthday present, or a day late actually, but the announcement today. So yeah, 2 other shows I'm really looking forward to. And Woody, I'm like you when you mentioned about the miserable people. Like, I think I've said this before. I don't have to like the characters, but I can't hate them. Right? If I hate them, I just can't watch the show, and I don't like it, and I got to move on. So The White Lotus, I've been told by a couple people that, yeah, you should check it out. And then I've had other people who kind of know my taste going, no, you won't like it. So I might get there, but I can't say it's high on my list.
I like Mike White. I love his stuff. It's just, I can't get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. And I think it's one of those things where at the end of each episode, they leave you with something that makes you want to watch the next one. Like there's just some kind of plot twist that I think is really great. Also, I really want to see that new show with Jason Segel so badly.
Oh,
hold
Shrinking.
on. Wait.
Okay, perfect.
That's on my list.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I want to see it. I just want to say, I want to see it.
All right. So that's it for TV, Nick?
Oh, yeah. I tapped out after The White Lotus.
All right. Okay, so Woody, what do you have?
All right, so strap in, everybody, because everything I'm about to give you, I've watched since Christmas.
Wow.
But I'm going to kick it off actually with Shrinking. So Shrinking is the new Bill Lawrence, Brett Goldstein, and Jason Segel show. There's 4 episodes out right now on Apple TV Plus. It's about a psychiatrist who's lost his wife and how he and his daughter and his coworkers, who his coworkers are played by Harrison Ford, and a woman who is on the Daily Show down here in the States. And his next door neighbor is Krista Miller, who's from Scrubs and who's Bill Lawrence's wife. And so it starts out very sad, but has very, very sweet moments in it. It's one of the best shows. If you love Ted Lasso, you will love this show. It's not as sappy and actually pulls at your heartstrings a lot more. But I've been doing like the Scrubs rewatch show that is now, it's Zach Braff and Donald Faison have a podcast that's super popular called Fake Doctors, Real Friends. So I've been doing that watch along with them. And if you liked kind of the more melancholy or sadder parts of Scrubs, this show is right up your alley. And it's not a sad show, but it's not depressing.
Okay.
So I love that. It's one of the best things I've seen in a bit. You guys got me to watch Only Murders in the Building. Loved it. Didn't think I would like it. Powered through it. Thought it was awesome.
Season 3 coming this year, apparently.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I'll save that for a don't. I found a new show. Again, it's called From Scratch.
Okay.
And it's a cooking show. So again, I like to throw some other weird stuff in here. But it's the guy who played the kid in Big. He was also in Newsies.
Wow. Okay.
All right. But it's on a channel in the States called FYI down here. I can't find it anywhere else. But what he does, it's a cool kind of cooking show because it's about sustainability. So what he'll do is he'll go to a city, meet a chef. The chef will give him a dish to create, and he has to go source all of the ingredients and then come back and cook the dish.
Oh, wow.
And the first episode, he goes to a really well-known restaurant in Reykjavik called Dill. And the guy gives him all the stuff he has to go get. And so he goes to South Africa. He goes to Mexico. He's in Asia.
And they talk about sustainability, and he flies all over the world.
Yeah, I know. But it's just really interesting. And he talks of like how he has to source some of the stuff. And sometimes it doesn't work out for him and whatever. But it's just a half-hour show, super interesting. Again, kind of that popcorn type thing where you don't have to think about it, but I just thought it was really neat. Canadian export, because this came out right after you guys recorded the last one, was Letterkenny, the latest season 12 of Letterkenny. And then before that in the summer was Shoresy, which was their spin-off show.
Yep.
Season 12 of Letterkenny, not as good. Shoresy, really good. So I'd suggest everybody seeing that.
Have you found that Letterkenny, I watched the first series, I watched half of the second. I lost interest. Do you think I should go back?
Yes.
Or do you think I'm not going to see anything that
There are pockets of really, really funny stuff.
Okay.
So I would often say the first series 1, episode 3, called Fart Book.
Yep.
Should not be there.
Right.
Because that just really slowed down the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
But they did both season 11 and season 12, or series 11, series 12, during pandemic. So that's why I think they weren't as tight. Some of the stories get old, but that's fine.
And Shoresy, for those who don't know, is the name of a hockey player.
Yep.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I've seen the trailers, the things that pop up on social media and stuff. Is it similar to Letterkenny, or is it in the sense that like Big Bang Theory is Letterkenny and Young Sheldon is Shoresy, like in the sense that they're related, but they're not the same? Or would you say they're the same?
They are totally different.
Okay, that's good then.
I would say the Shoresy one is actually more realistic.
Okay.
Than the Letterkenny one. Like the whole thing is it's a minor league soccer team in Sudbury, Ontario, right? Ontario.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. I'm worried when I say Ontario.
That's where they film Letterkenny too.
Yeah. But the 4 actors actually 7 of the actors are actually former professional hockey players.
Right.
Who they got to act. And the kid who plays the coach was actually in Prey, the movie you guys talked about before. He plays one of the Native Americans in Prey.
Okay.
So it's really fun. And it's just some good laughing stuff. All right. Next one I texted you guys about was Paul T. Goodman on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was that good?
It's weird.
Mm.
Is that the one with Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen?
Yeah, they're producers of it.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing I tell you. It took the guy 10 years to make this, but it's a story. This guy, Paul T. Goodman, sort of his real name. It's like a mockumentary, but it's actually based on a real guy. The real guy plays himself in the reenactments. Again, our friend Karen Landry, double shout out for Karen. She liked it as well. It didn't end really well, but it's such a weird show that if you just want something to just get really weird behind, watch it. Because you don't know if he's telling the truth or not. And it's the unreliable narrator syndrome. And some of the stuff he makes up, they actually prove like to his face he was wrong, but he doesn't care and he keeps moving. So it's super weird. If you're into weird, you'll like it. The guy who produced and directed it and got it all put together is a former, the Paul Scheer comedy group that they had. He's just he's a big comedy guy, Giant something. Boy, this is great audio. I'll skip and move on. Next one I'll give you quick is Don't Bother is Mythic Quest Season 3 on Apple. Found it boring, could care less. A surprisingly was That 90s Show on Netflix. And the best thing I can tell you is if you like that 70s show, you probably will like this.
A lot of the characters from the 70s show appear in the new one, right?
They show up. I wouldn't say appear.
Right.
So like Ashton Kutcher and Topher Grace appear in the first episode. Donna, I keep blanking on her name. She shows up like 3 or 4 times. Bob, the next door neighbor, he shows up a couple times. Tommy Chong is in it a couple times. But they've recasted it, and I think they did a good job with the younger actors to come in and be similar enough but different. And a lot of good like mid 90s reference crap that we'll all appreciate, except maybe Nick. Nick, you may have.
Nick's like, I was 3.
Wait, in what year?
95.
I was 6.
Okay.
6. Okay, so you may not get all the references, but it was
I
still...
struggle with the laugh track though. I haven't watched it. I've seen the clip.
Yeah.
And laugh tracks tend to throw me off. There are some of my favorite show of all time is WKRP, which has a laugh track.
Right.
But I find that, I don't know, nowadays I don't care for it.
Yeah, I can tune it out. Maybe because Patrick and I share tinnitus. Maybe it's our ability with our tinnitus. I can just totally don't hear laugh tracks, maybe.
Or avoid the shows that have them.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Seinfeld and Friends? Oh, no.
Yeah.
You have to watch those.
True. Seinfeld anyway.
All right. Another one I'm giving give it a shot is the new Night Court.
Oh, that my parents said that was good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not going to say it's good. John Larroquette is the only one that they've brought back, and he's the heart of the show now versus him being Dan Fielding in the old day where he was kind of the smart-ass cutting-edge part of it. He's actually the heart of the show, and they brought in Melissa Rauch, who's actually helped create and EP the show. She plays Harry Stone's daughter. And everybody's like, it's not as good as Night Court. I'm like, watch the first series of the original Night Court. It wasn't that good either.
Mm-hmm.
So give it time, let it build on itself. It should be good.
If I didn't have a crush on Marky Post back then, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it either.
Yeah. All right. Another Don't Bother is National Treasure Edge of History on Disney Plus. I wanted it to be good, but it's another, like they tried to make a YA novel out of the Nicolas Cage movies. It's so much more about these teenage relationship stuff. I'm like, no, just show me the writing on the back of the Declaration of Independence. I don't need all this other stuff. Lockwood and Co., British show out of Netflix. Mike, I thought maybe you'd have heard of this one.
It sounds familiar, but I can't.
It's basically like British Ghostbusters.
Okay.
And it's this one is kind of YA teen thing, but it's people that can actually hear or see spirits get hired, and they're almost like as their kids, they're put into different agencies that then job them out and make money off of them. Going and exorcising spirits from these homes and buildings and stuff. It's pretty decent one. I got 3 more then.
Mm-hmm.
2 watch and 1 don't. So I'm going to go a watch is Ghosts. So there's the British version and the US version.
Right.
Both are great. Down the middle sitcom, funny stuff. A couple inherits a house from her great grandmother that has ghosts going all the way back from a Viking to a Victorian age to a hippie to a finance bro with no pants on to a Boy Scout leader who has an arrow through his neck. and some of this stuff. And it's nice little interplays, straightforward sitcom. The British version is great. A bunch of the actors from the British versions were on all the shows you named earlier, Mike.
The American version, isn't it network? Isn't it like CBS?
Yeah, it's CBS. Yeah, it's a CBS show. The British version is on HBO Max here.
Okay.
I thought for a second you meant Spooks. Do you remember that show, Mike?
Oh, yeah. MI5.
Yes, MI5. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
there was like, they made a US version, and it wasn't that at all.
There's also the
ignore me.
what they do in. I think people sometimes get it confused with what's it called?
What They Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, What They Do in the Shadows.
So Woody, please.
All right, I got two more. So one is a don't. The don't is Kunk on Earth.
Oh,
I'm waiting for Mike on this one.
Really?
Wait, what was the title?
It's called Kunk, Cunk.
Oh, thank God. I thought you said something else, and I was like, wait, how dare you?
Okay, so I love the character of Philomena Kunk.
Yeah, same. Her episode on Shakespeare.
Yes.
I saw it yesterday. Still awesome.
Was it from a previous one, or is it from this series?
Well, she used to be in the Charlie Brooker Screenwipe show, which he went on to do. What's the show on Netflix? Black Mirror. So she had like a recurring character on his show, and then she had her first series, which was a few years ago now, if I remember correctly, and that was brilliant.
Conk on Britain,
yeah. But the new one, it's on my list, but I'd never watched it. You didn't like it?
I couldn't get through the first episode.
Okay.
I understood what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that same friend of mine I mentioned earlier about the symphony, he's a former college professor.
Right.
And he was the one who recommended it to me. And he's like, because they're interviewing college professors all the time. He's like, you do not know how many of those interviews I've actually done.
and for those who haven't seen it, I mean, she doesn't play an idiot, but she plays somebody who may ask unusual questions, let's say. And
I mean, she is an idiot.
She's a bit of an idiot, but not in like an Ali G kind of way, right? Where it was a similar premise, but like, so this new one, I'd seen clips and I was interested, but I may have to second guess it now. So,
well, I don't know, because part of it, I almost want you guys to watch it to convince me different. That's partially what I like about you guys is that when you're talking about this, part of it is hold on, give it a second shot, and that's why I threw out like Ben's Years of Inisherin earlier was like, if you guys might sway me, but I'm like, no, you didn't on that one.
So actually, then in that case, look it up on YouTube, Woody, if you want.
Yep.
Conk, Shakespeare. And if that doesn't change your mind, maybe it's not as good as it used to be. Maybe Conk on Earth is not as good as it used to be or something. But I'd say give it a second chance if you can.
All right.
And the actress is named Diane Morgan, who was in Afterlife with Ricky Gervais, and she's done other things too. She's in another show I think it's called Parenthood or something, or Motherhood. I think she's great, but I haven't seen this one, so I'm curious to see if I feel the same way.
All right, cool. Now we built suspense, so then the next episode we'll see if I liked it or not. All right, last show I've got. I texted all you guys about this. Upright, as referring to an upright piano. So it's a British show from 2019. Series 1 was in 2019. Series 2 was in 2020. It's with our old friend Tim Minchin, who we just mentioned about Matilda, and then Millie Alcock most people will know her from House of the Dragon.
Yes.
She played the young blonde in House of the Dragon.
Yep.
It's a story about...
Inbred albino.
Right. But it's a story about a guy who is taking an upright piano back to his mother's. He's going from Sydney to Perth. And so it's a bit of a road epic about him trying to get this thing back. And the show starts out he runs into Millie Alcock and it ruins his vehicle. So they have to put the upright piano in her vehicle, and they start heading west because she's trying to find her father or her mother. And so it's, again, a really sweet show. It's not like when I saw Tim Minchin, I'm like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. It's not hilarious, but it's funny and sweet, kind of like what I was mentioning with Shrinking at the top of this thing. So the series 2 is, I don't know if I can I'm still working on that one because the whole point of the show changes, but series 1 is fantastic. I stumbled upon it. I don't know how.
You know what? I remember it being on when it came on, and I wanted to watch it, and for some reason we didn't, and I haven't gone back to watch it. But for those of us in Canada, listeners in Canada, I believe the first series is on CBC Gem. So,
all right, it's AMC Plus here, so not Not the AMC Plus that Nick has, the channel.
Yeah. I'll also say there's a great Tim Minchin series, and he's actually one of the real secondary characters in it. There was an Australian sitcom that came out about 6 or 7 years ago, I think, called Squinters. And it's about people who...
I thought they were going to say squirters.
You guys, listen. So
Sorry.
We have a whole other episode of shows that it could be
So
called.
Squinters, I'll just give this a heads up real quick. Squinters is every episode, every scene for the most part is set in a car, because squinters are people who commute to work in the morning when the sun is rising. And when they go home at night, the sun is setting, so they have to squint, right? And he plays, and it's all pairs. So there's there's 4 or 5 different sets of pairs that drive home together they all work at this almost like this Amazon type place. Not that that matters, because again, it's all about getting to work and getting home from work. And he's teamed up with this Australian actress, and clearly he has a thing for her, and and she doesn't necessarily realize it. But that is a super sweet show, and it's super funny. And if you just want something to laugh at for half an hour, you cannot go wrong with that show.
Cool.
So, and he was in that. He's not one of the writers or anything, but it's definitely it's worth going back to revisit.
Yeah, that sounds almost like a COVID show.
Yeah, I mean, it was on before COVID, but yeah, it's one of those ones that if you found it during COVID, I mean, I think it's 6 or 8 episodes. So it's, because Australia and British, they don't make a lot. I think it'd be like one of those ones you just plow through because it's great. So
cool.
All right. I only have 2 TV shows, so this will be quick. My first one is on Netflix in Canada anyway. It was a Copenhagen Cowboy from Nicholas Winding Refn. He did Drive, he did Pusher. His first movie, I think, was Pusher. He did the Neon Demon a few years ago, which was terrible. His previous TV series was Too Old to Die Young, which was a struggle to finish. But Winding Refn is all about visuals, lots of neon, of course, and lots of bright colors. And some of the visuals in Copenhagen Cowboy are absolutely stunning. But I think he is getting up his own ass way too much now. I mean, I kind of enjoyed Copenhagen Cowboy, but I had to watch it at 1.5 speed, because each scene was dragged on forever and ever.
What's the gist of it? I've never heard of this show.
It's a young woman who has sort of a gift. She brings good luck, good fortune. So at first she is hired by a bunch of Serbian drug lords, so they can make good business or whatever. And then she escapes, and then she gets picked up by the Chinese triad. And it takes place in Denmark, in Copenhagen or near. For those who like Winding Refn, I think they will enjoy it.
So I can't tell, do you want us to watch it or not watch it? I can't tell where you're going with this.
If you know Winding Refn, I think you would enjoy this. But if you don't, I would recommend the movie Drive from a few years ago with Ryan Gosling and Carey Mulligan. Mm-hmm. Awesome movie. So watch that one. What else? I would say the next one I started, but I had to stop, and not because it wasn't good. It was The Responder with Martin Freeman.
Okay.
It's from the BBC.
Yeah.
Martin Freeman was Watson on the Sherlock series, of course. This is going to sound stupid, but it was making me too anxious. And I had to stop watching it because, minus spoiler for the first episode, I guess, what I thought after finishing the first episode is, and I'm referring to a character that nobody knows anything about, what I thought was, that junkie piece of shit is going to get him killed, and I want no part of this. So I bounced.
I've done that with shows.
Yeah.
I've done that with, there's a character that just makes me feel bad.
So I caught up on Wikipedia for the rest of the series, and I'm not going to tell you if my assumption was wrong or not. But it was well done, well made, and Martin Freeman was excellent.
He is one of my favorite actors. He's one of the few guys that I think, or few people that I think that can make a bad show okay. I won't say good, but okay. He actually has another kind of sitcom called Breeders. And it's not for me. It's a little, I don't know. It's a little out of, there's been a couple series. I think it's on FX. I can't get in. Like, it's just not my thing. But if I did watch it, and I watched a couple episodes, it's because of him. Like, I think he's great. And, he's from The Office as well, from the UK Office.
That's true. And in this one, the responder, he is wound up so tight. I've never seen him in such a role, that kind of role. I mean, I've seen him in mostly, comedic roles, not this time. And I would say, give it a try. It wasn't for me, but
it's good, but it's very dark. It sounds.
Yes. Yeah.
It looks to be on BritBox in the States.
Okay.
So, yeah, sounds weird. I've only watched one episode and I bailed, but I still would recommend it.
Yeah.
It's certainly worth a watch. And I wanted to ask you guys, are you watching The Last of Us?
That was one yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I like it, though.
Have you played the game?
No.
Okay.
So I have no point of reference to the game.
Okay.
So I'm watching it as to me, it's like another Walking Dead show. I just went through 11 years of The Walking Dead. Do I need another one of these?
Oof. Yeah. If you went through the entire series, yeah, I can understand the zombie fatigue. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. But you can see a few set pieces. Okay, so they took that from the video game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this looks like a video game sequence.
I've heard nothing but good things, and I think that there's a lot of people who are amazed how well it went from that media to this media.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
But
yes.
I don't know if it's really for me either, and but I have heard nothing but good things.
No, it's a Mutford show. I think.
Yes,
that's what
absolutely.
I would.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel with Mike. Is that I like it looks good, but I don't know if I'm gonna probably watch it.
I think it's been renewed already for
Yes, it has.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Series 2 has already been approved.
Yeah, I mean, to the surprise of no one.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be expected.
Well, it is kind of, though, the way that a lot of these series now, it's all about subscriptions and getting new subscriptions. The whole model of shows, if you get 3 years, you've won.
Yep.
You get 3 series, you've won. So that's why when you see some of these with 12, like Letterkenny, that most people discovered online.
Well, I don't know if this has happened in America yet, but I mean, the big thing that's happened in Canada not the big thing, but one of the big things is the Netflix count problem. I don't know. I'm going to say it's a problem. Sharing.
Account
Yeah.
sharing problem.
So, I mean, I listen, I used my parents' account for the last decade, and I logged in literally the other day, and it said, are you sure this is your? And I was like, uh-oh.
Jesus.
And then, so then it had to be, do I give my mom the extra money? My mom turned and said, I'm getting rid of it anyway. So I decided to, I get it because my son still finds a lot of things on it. But yeah, I mean, and if that hasn't happened in America, it's coming, it is.
It hasn't yet. They had a leak this week, actually, that was supposed to be for your device. In order for your device to log in, it has to be basically within the whole, I'm going to get nerd talk, but this is partially what I do for a living, is so every computer and every device has an IP address, Internet Protocol address.
Yeah.
They'll have to be the same.
It's not for you guys, it's for the listeners in case they don't know. But the whole thing is the account is going to be associated to a household IP address.
Right.
And you basically have to come back to the home base every 30 days to renew that lease. That was the leak that came out this week. But then Netflix, next day said, oh, no, that was a mistake. We didn't mean to do that. I'm like, oh, bull. They were fishing.
But how can you not?
How can you not what?
Like, how can you get around that, right? Because you're going to leave this huge loophole. That's never going to happen. They're going to close it down. We had an incident in Canada where there was a guy who, he said, I own a restaurant. And he said, when I do the cooking, I'm in the back. And there's a whole thing, I think you can find it on Reddit. And he says, I have a TV there. It's my account. He said, but I'm not at home. And the tech support said the only way that he could do it would be to take his home TV, his home smart TV, to the restaurant.
Jesus.
Like you said, once every 30 days. So it said, oh, okay, that's the home device. He's using it at this other IP address. I guess it really is him. And then to drive and he's like, I'm not going to do that. So
I have a real question. I'm going back to Europe in September for 6 weeks. Does it mean that I'm screwed?
You might be.
Fuck. Okay.
This is what I always do when I travel, Patrick, is I always download TV shows and movies like onto my iPad or my laptop.
But what you get in other parts of the world is different, right? When I go to the UK and I used to use that account, I could get a lot of British stuff that we don't get here for licensing and rights reasons, I'm sure. But
I already told my parents, because I really don't use Netflix a ton. I already said, like, if they want to get rid of it, please do so, because I really don't care about it too much.
No, but I think Q1 or by Q2 this year, there's going to be something. Because the same thing is I travel a lot for work and I watch shows when I'm in a hotel. And the logic was, well, yeah, but you go home every 30 days. I'm like, that's not really the point.
no.
But to that end, it's technology. Most technologies can get hacked, meaning in a positive way. Like if somebody were to say, want to watch a show via VPN.
Well, that's what I was thinking when we were talking, was the VPN, or
Yeah, but
there has to be some way.
on Netflix, it's difficult. It's feasible still, but it's difficult now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's end on a high note.
Well, I mean, I don't really watch Netflix when I'm traveling anyway, so I spend my days walking around. So, I'm not going to watch TV there. I can do plenty of that here.
Those 20,000 steps don't happen by themselves, right? So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So, any closing thoughts, guys?
No, I'm good.
No, thanks again for having us. So appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you, Patrick.
Actually, I got something else for you guys. I have, and this is a first on the show, I think, I have a YouTube recommendation.
Oh.
It's only 2 videos from the same guy. If you Google it, it will be the first result. It is Bobby Fingers on YouTube. Bobby Fingers in 2 words. He is Irish, I think, and he recreates, I'm not going to say movie scenes, like small models, but scenes related to movies. And he's got only 2 videos so far, total 45 minutes maybe. And it is brilliant.
Awesome.
I shit you not. It is excellent. You have to watch it. He's got a real, Irish accent and with a nice music in the background. It's almost ASMR-esque, but he is extremely skilled at the same time. And what he says, it is fantastic. I recommend it. Take 45 minutes to watch both videos. It is awesome.
Well, the first one I see here is Steven Seagal chokehold diorama. I'm already in.
Yeah, that's the second video he
Okay.
made. The first one is about Mel Gibson. So, I laughed my ass off.
Awesome.
It's great.
Oh, I got him. Okay.
All right. So check it out and let me know what you think. So where can we reach you guys online? Nick, starting with you.
So I have a podcast, Rock in Retrospect, and I can be found at Rock and Retropod on Twitter, and that's also the same handle on Instagram. And then if you want to follow my personal account, it's at Nick D. Bambach on Twitter. And if you want to follow my Letterboxd account for my movie reviews or ratings, it's ND Bambach. And my dog is the picture.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you, Nick. Mike, what about you?
I'm on Twitter still. I know I threatened last time that I'd be off, but I'm still there. Mr. D's class, MRDSCLASS. And you can find me on Instagram. I have to approve you, but it's Pickies with Filters, PICIES with WITH filters. And you'll find me there.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Woody, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter, mainly talking to these guys at The Wooden Chef. But if you also follow me on Instagram at The Wooden Chef, you'll get to see I either go to really good restaurants or I cook really good food. So check it out there.
Yeah, it's like going to a grocery store. Don't look at Woody's stuff if you're hungry, because it's not good. It's too good. It's
not
too
good.
good.
What
That's
the
the problem. Like when you go to the grocery store and you're hungry and you buy a bunch of stuff you don't need. I look at your stuff and I go, I need to eat something because it's so good. So,
all right. So thank you guys again. And sorry for the long episode, listeners. I hope it was worth it. And we will catch you again on the next one. Thank you.